Want to get more out of your cannabis harvest? Come on, today let's get into making edibles, bubble hash, and rosin. Come on, but before we do, today's video is brought to you by Real Growers Recharge. If you want stronger, healthier plants, if you want bigger roots for better fruits, you gotta check out Real Growers Recharge. It's like an instant compost tea that holds more nutrients at your root zone, breaks those nutrients down, and makes them more plant available, getting more of your nutrients into your plants. Find out more about Recharge over at realgrowers.com. And while you're there, use coupon code Scotty420 to get 20% off your first order. Now let's get back to the show. Come on, Hi-C, you ready?
I am, man. So this is a problem that hits close to home. What to do when you've got too much flour?
I know, man. I have too much flour. You can't get through it. It's not the worst problem to have, though.
Yeah, well, the viewer doesn't know that you've got like 2 or 3 other buckets that same size filled.
Yeah, so honestly, the flour is piling up. I don't smoke. I used to smoke a bunch of joints that'll go through flour. For my health, man. I cut down, all right? So, yeah, I like rosin. I really do like the extracts. I've gotten into them. They're much cleaner on my lungs. I smoke much less of them.
Okay, before we jump into rosin, let's take it back. I'm new to the idea of making different types of extracts. Help me out with the first one that most people experiment with.
Canna butter's the easiest one, right? You trim your buds. You got all that leftover trim. Literally, you take a couple sticks of butter. You put the oven, the stove on as low as you can, and you literally put your leaves in there, melt it, and then you can squeeze it out with a coffee filter or something like that. You squeeze out the plant material, and you make brownies out of it or a green cake out of it. And I say green because you're getting a decent amount of chlorophyll in there, so it is not a very pure product. But if you're just having fun, sure, man, you got a bunch of trim left over. Yeah, you can make some edibles with it. I made good cookies that have gotten the party started.
And usually when I've made canna butter in the past, it turns green. And the act of cooking it kind of activates the ingredients that we're wanting from the cannabis.
Yeah, THC needs to be activated. So it needs to be heated up. Yeah, you can't just eat it raw. It won't work much.
So this is really easy to do. It's probably why most people first dabble with it.
Right.
You mentioned cookies. Just a quick shout out. I like chocolate mixed with it. And zucchini bread is great with it.
Yep.
But one of the things that I've noticed is it's kind of a crapshoot. It's risky. You don't know what you're getting.
Yes, exactly, man. So that's why I like making cookies or brownies or something where you can eat a half of one and see what happens. But yeah, it is a crapshoot. It's more just something for fun. I've ruined some parties bringing brownies. Don't bring them to a volleyball party, all right, man? Yes.
All right. I'm ready to step it up a little bit.
Yeah.
What's the next step in experimenting with different types of extracts?
Bubble. Here's a bubble bag right here. First time I saw these, I turned to everyone I was with. I said, give me every dollar you have. I need these. Yeah, they're huge. So same thing. What you do is you put there's different sizes of them. You use 2 or 3. You put them together. It's very simple. And it's just a bunch of different screens. And you're screening out those trichomes. The first bag is screening out the plant material. And then you're screening maybe broken trichome heads and then whole trichome heads. And there's just different ways to get all sorts of different kinds of high quality hash. You can make really good hash with these.
Okay, help me out. You said something about you also need ice when you're using these.
Yeah, bubble bags. What you're doing with them is you can put your trim. You know what's cool about bubble bags? You don't even have to trim your weed, man. You can just take it, freeze it, and then use that with some ice. Some people don't even use ice. The idea is you're knocking these buds together very gently, or you're stirring them with the spoon, and you're knocking the trichomes off the plant material. And then you wash those trichomes down into, the bottom of your bag, and then you collect them. And those trichomes, that's some really pure hash right there, some really good hash.
What's the importance of the ice, though?
The ice makes everything brittle. It gets everything really cold. You can just use super cold water. It's becoming bubble hash season because it's starting to get cold out. Yeah, but the idea is you're keeping the plant material really cold and you're knocking those trichomes off. And by the way, remember I said they call it fresh frozen, meaning you don't even dry it. You just freeze it right away. And when you dry something, what happens? When you go and smell your drying room and it smells, that's not magic. Those are the terpenes volatilizing off into the air. So when you just put it right in a freezer, you don't give those terpenes any chance to volatilize off. And then the next thing you're doing with them is knocking them off in water and collecting them. So you've got a really potent, terpene-rich product that's coming out, man. It's really cool. It's called fresh frozen.
And so this means I don't have to hang it and dry it out. I keep everything that's in there, and I'm not having anything volatilize off in between harvest and final product.
I'm not trying to smile. I just can't help it. If you tell me I don't have to trim anymore, look, I'm actually laughing now. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, man. I know people that just take their whole harvest, throw them right in a deep freezer. And I will tell you, the longer you wait, the less, the quality degrades. Maybe a couple days, and then go out there and make bubble out of it. And then that kind of brings us to the last thing, which is rosin.
Okay, so you've got this press over here.
Yeah.
It looks like one of those things I see on the YouTube videos where they smush the jawbreakers and they smash out, but you've got this
You
thing
would
called...
watch those.
I love those. You've got this thing over here called a rosin press. Explain that.
A rosin press is just a hydraulic press with some plates on there. I mean, you can get them for as low as, I think there's a Nug Smasher for a couple $100. You can get a decent rosin press for $500 or $600 on the low end, I'll say. They go up to thousands of dollars. But the idea is you get an exact heat on those plates, and then you squeeze the flour material, or you can squeeze bubble. But you can either take the flour, and they put it in like parchment paper, almost like a thicker wax paper. And for just really simple, you can squeeze the flour, and then there's just this sticky sap left on the parchment paper that you collect, and it is even further refined. So they do it with flour. It's kind of frowned on in the snooty community. Most people make bubble hash out of it and put that bubble hash in some parchment paper, or they've got these bags that you fold over and all that. But the idea is you're squeezing out just the essential cannabinoids and terpenes. It's another process of refinement. And if any of y'all have been to Colorado or any of the legal states and have tried rosin, it's unbelievable, man.
And rosin versus live rosin, because I've heard both. What's the deal?
Live rosin, you have to use fresh frozen, because live rosin is all about not letting those terpenes volatilize off at any time. So you make the fresh frozen so you don't volatilize those terpenes off. And then you have to put it in a freeze dryer, because you have to dry. Once you make that hash, you can't let that hash volatilize the terpenes off. So you have to put it in a freeze dryer. Freeze dryer dries something under pressure. So it's drying it, but it's not allowing the terpenes to volatilize off. And they're thousands of bucks. I mean, that's a heck of a commitment there. So bubble hash, really good bubble hash, fresh frozen. Man, that's the sweet spot.
So help me understand this thing. You do the bubble hash, you take that, and then you put that in the freeze dryer before pressing it?
Yep. Your bubble hash is going to be wet when it comes out. Don't forget, it's being sieved through ice and water. So now you've got this wet bubble hash. So yeah, you got to plane that out. You got to kind of separate it so it's not all clumped together. And then you've got to dry it in your freeze dryer. And then you can squeeze it into rosin.
Man, it sounds like a lengthy process, but it's worth it in the end.
I mean, think about like distillers or beer brewers. That's a heck of a process too. And it's a labor of love. You do it and what you get out of it. When you get an amazing, even if it's a couple dabs at a time of rosin, and me and you are hanging out enjoying it, you go, oh my God, I can't believe you made this from that room next door. It feels great, man. That's what we're doing as hobbyists. But that's just me. Those are the things that I like to do with my extra cannabis. But what about you? What do you do with your extra harvest? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Share this video with another grower you know. And check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending. I know you'll dig them.